Hi there, Michelle here, also known as Fancy Dinosaur Tea Party, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to be doing a DIY, something that I haven't filmed in a while because, let me just put it to you straight, I'm very lazy at times, and actually putting together a video of me making something, it seems so daunting to me, and I don't want to do it. I have been crafty in the last few months, but I just haven't documented it because just setting up the camera and explaining everything and then having to have a camera when I'm actually making the product is just so tedious, and I didn't feel like doing it. But also I have been very lazy, so if I actually film myself doing it, then I'm accountable to actually finish the process. You might be wondering what we're going to be doing today, and it's going to be a reusable bag. I love reusable bags. I have a habit of buying cute ones, even though when I go shopping I just use one. But you can also accessorize them with your different outfits, which I love. So a trend that I'm seeing lately is this kind of cottage core vibe bag where it's kind of sheer. I'll put a photo of what I'm talking about up here, but it's these sheer kind of bags, and they just look so beautiful, and I really wanted to make one. Now, I'm going to give you the process of how I decided I'm actually going to make it. The other day I decided, hey, you know what, our front door needs to have some type of curtain on it or whatever, and I went thrifting and I found something. So what I found was this material here. I just love it. And of course it is way too big for our door. It is in fact a shower curtain. I bought it at, I believe, Goodwill. I think I might have taken the tag off already. I did, because there was a thing. So I bought it at Goodwill, and I believe it was $6. This is just so beautiful, and when I saw it, I'm okay, well, I'll put it on the door. I'll make the tutorial of me cutting it up and making it into curtains. But the more I look at this fabric, the more I'm oh, it's so beautiful to be wasted on a front door. So it is almost fall out, and I mean, this material is definitely more spring, summer kind of vibes to it. So I know that I'm probably just going to be swapping these out if I had made them into curtains for something more fall themed, more Halloween, more spooky. So why waste this beautiful shower curtain of material on some curtains? So there's not much more to explain about this. I think we should just get right into actually making the bag.
Alright, I'm going to pause the video right here before we actually get into making the bag. Past me had such high hopes that this would turn out real cute. And did it? Yes. But the sewing? Not so much. I didn't realize how difficult this material was going to be. It's kind of like a nylon material, and it got a little crazy in the handles. But is it a cute bag? Does it do what a bag needs to do? Hold things? It most certainly does. Is the sewing great? Far from it. But if you would like to continue watching the video, you may do so now. Step 1 is to find a bag that you already own and you like the size of, and you're going to make that the template of the bag you want to create. I chose this one. It's the perfect size. You're just going to lay it down and then cut around it. After you've cut out 2 pieces, you're going to want to pin them together, and then you can start working on the handles. I just kind of guesstimated on the size. Again, you're going to want to put them inside out, and you're going to just want to pin them so they stay in place while you're sewing. The next step is to go to the sewing machine, and you are just going to do the basic stitch around your entire bag. You can see the stitch right here. It's just straight across. After doing the straight stitch, I went back and I folded over all my hems and then just did the zigzag pattern just to give it extra durability. I'm doing the same for my handles. Simple, just a simple straight stitch. And then folding over those edges, and then again doing the zigzag pattern. After that's all done, I took the handles that I have and I'm putting them right side out. I am doing this so then that way I can get my iron and just flatten them out so they're just nice and much easier to sew and they look a lot crisper. After the handles are nice and pressed, I'm sewing them onto the bag itself. All I'm doing is making a little rectangle and then doing a X in the middle just so that way it's nice and sturdy. And that is the final outcome of the bag. I think it looks okay. I mean, I know the handles are a little janked at the top, but other than that, it's really pretty, quite durable, and I'm really excited to use it this summer. Alright, I'm going to pause the video again right here. So that was the first way on how to make one of these bags. This bag was typically the style of bag that I made myself when I was in high school and I had to carry my books around because we weren't allowed to wear backpacks. Anywho, let's go right into the second way of making these cute little reusable bags. So what we want to do is we want to get some paper. I used newspaper, anything big enough that you can trace out the bag you want, and you are just going to make a large rectangle or square, whatever shape you want for your bag, and then you are just going to make two little lines just like this. Then that's going to be where your handles are. Then you're just going to cut out your shape. So basically the shape is your tracing pattern and you're going to place it on the fabric that you want to make the bag out of. Instead of cutting two separate pieces, I just made a giant piece. So I traced it on one side and then I flipped it over on the other side of the fabric and made a giant rectangle. After I finished making my rectangle, I folded it back in half, and this is where I'm going to figure out where I want my handles on the bags. So I place it like this, and the folded part is at the top where the handles are, so I don't have to stitch those together. Luckily, the material that I'm using has lines on it, so I can just count out the different squares and figure out the symmetry on both sides for the handles. Once you have the giant square in the middle of your cutout, you're going to want to pin it down so that way there is no raw edges, and then you're going to take it to your sewing machine and sew it all up. You're also going to want to pin and sew around the entire outer rim of the bag as well, just to make sure that there are no raw edges. And once I have it in my sewing machine, I am just sewing the big square right around without stopping. It's honestly, this process is much easier than the first bag that I did. So once all the raw edges are nice stitched up on your handles, you're going to want to pin the rest of your bag together. You are now going to flip your bag inside out and start pinning. Now remember, you're only going to want to pin up until probably where your handles start. Otherwise, you're going to be sewing your handles together. So just make sure you leave a little mark or something to know where to stop sewing. So I use the zigzag stitch on here so that way it is more durable, just like I did on my last bag. And that is my final project. To be honest, I really like this bag a lot better than the first one. They're both great, and I definitely will get a lot of use out of both of them.